Welcome back. Let's take you back to the UK now, where sources close to Tottenham Hotspur have confirmed that an agreement between South African tourism and the club is in the final stages. It's believed the deal is worth R1 billion. Let's get more details now. We're joined by our UK correspondent, Olly Barret. Olly, what more details do you have so far? Is this something that's going ahead? South Africans are wondering.
Yeah, it looks like we are very close to this deal being announced. And what I'm hearing from sources close to the club and close to the deal are exactly those words, that the agreement is in the final stages. And I'm being guided that we should have an agreement announced within the next few days, if not within the hours ahead. I think it is also fair to say that the schedule for the announcement of this arrangement, which has been in the works for a little period of time, has been disrupted somewhat by the leaking overnight to the South African media about some reported details of the arrangements between Tottenham Hotspur and SA Tourism. But as I say, sources are telling me, sources who are very close to the club and the deal, that there are indeed discussions which are very, very close to a final agreement. And as I say, my guidance is that we should have an announcement very soon.
Olly, do your sources tell you at all what this cash injection would be for?
I am not being guided away from the reported numbers that have been quoted in South African media so far. What I am being told by people close to this deal is that there is a feeling that this is an arrangement that would be value for money for South Africa. The sources close to the deal are pointing towards the Premier League's global audience, global viewership. I'm being told phrases like the huge following, not just here in England, but also in the UK, further afield, in Europe, in the United States, in Asia. The diversity of players is something that's been mentioned to me by sources as well, and therefore the visibility of South Africa in front of billions of viewers every weekend is the guidance that I'm being given. The target audience here, I'm told, is a global market. This is very much not something just aimed at the British market, despite the fact that the UK is so important in terms of the tourism numbers that come to South Africa every year. I think there is also an acceptance among those close to the deal that this is going to be controversial in South Africa, and that is why some of this context is being given to me. And I'm sure that when this deal is announced, which, as I say, should be, we expect pretty soon now, that those are some of the arguments that are going to be set out in response to some of those criticisms about the costs that this deal might incur. In terms of what South Africa would get for this reported amount that would be paid to Tottenham Hotspur over the course of the next 3 years, we think, something like that. It is things like branding tie-ups. It is things like SA Tourism in South Africa being mentioned in social media posts by Spurs. We think that it would probably involve something like we see at Arsenal with the Rwanda deal, the sponsorship being on the shirts of the team in some way as well. So it's that kind of arrangement that we're looking at in terms of the tie-up, which, as I say, I'm being told is very close to being agreed and announced now.
And I know you don't have a lot of information, Olly, and you're still waiting for this announcement to actually happen there in the UK. But I wonder if your sources are aware that the Minister of Tourism here in South Africa has said that she had no idea about this deal. So it looks like there's a bit of, hesitance from our government to tell us what is happening with this particular deal. Are they aware at all that we're scrambling here in South Africa with the leaders of this country in terms of whether or not this is a deal that's going ahead?
Yeah, I think those close to the deal are very much aware of exactly those kinds of comments and, of course, of the controversy around the deal more widely. And I think that's part of the reason that the timeline to all of this is potentially shifting over the course of the next 24, 48 hours or so. This was not how the news was designed to be reported. The arrangement was designed to be announced by South Africa and Spurs when indeed it was concluded. So certainly this has thrown a bit of a fly in the ointment. As I say, my guidance from sources close to this deal are very, very aware of some of the criticisms that are being levelled at it in South Africa, given the cost cost of living crisis, given the issues around power supplies at the moment as well that so many other countries around the world are facing too. But certainly that's why I'm being guided towards some of those contextual ideas around the huge audience that the Premier League has, and that therefore the view among those that are close to the deal that it will end up being value for money. It will deliver more tourism numbers, people believe, to the South African economy and therefore pay for itself. But once we get to the point of an arrangement being confirmed finally and announced and those numbers being fully set out, of course it won't be until several years after that that anyone will actually have any idea whether it has been value for money or not. So either way, it's certainly a gamble.
All right, Olly Barret, thank you very much for your time. He is our correspondent in the UK.